I'm here today to talk to you not just about an idea worth sharing, but an idea worth doing. And after this long retirement and this long career that I had, I thought I had an art degree and I thought I knew a whole lot about everything. But then I learned something about painting outside the lines, and I learned it from 350 orphans in an orphanage in the former Yugoslavia with the widows of the 10,000 missing men of Srebrenica. And working with these women that were sad all day long, I started working with the kids, 350 orphans with no surviving relatives, to cheer myself up, because hearing all those sad stories every day was starting to bring me down. And so one day, after about 3 months of making drawings and paintings, the kids said, "Can we make a big painting?" And I thought, well, the orphanage was located in what was a former hospital, and they turned it into an orphanage. So it was really barren with these metal beds. You can kind of imagine that. And so I thought, well, muslin, cotton sheets, we can make a mural. And so I asked the psychologist that was there, 5 people taking care of 350 kids, do you have any extra sheets? So she took me to a closet, and there, neatly piled and stacked in the closet, were bed sheets. So I started pulling one out. Oh boy, I'm going to have a canvas. They were full of holes. And when I asked, why all the holes? She said, oh, we teach the little girls how to darn and sew. Because in Eastern Europe, they do a lot of hand sewing, as you probably know. And then she told me, well, these holes are really, I asked her where the holes were from, and she said, these were from the bombs and the shrapnel in the bullet holes that were once shelling this hospital on a daily basis. And there were those kind of holes in the walls. So it just struck me, how can I do this? So I found some masking tape, and I taped up all the holes with the masking tape on the back. We women are very resourceful. And the S4 troops had left a 10-gallon can of white flat wall paint. Resourceful again, gesso. So I covered the whole bed sheet with this white paint. And the next morning, I had a canvas, a pre-gessoed canvas. But what changed my life from that experience was 5 days of watching these 350 children. They were from ages about 3.5 to about 17, divided into 5 groups so they could take care of each other, was how they started trying to decide what they were going to paint once I got them the material. So they all did sketches, and then they started telling stories about what had happened to them. Some of them were neighbors and friends. Some of their parents had killed each other. And so there were many moments that I had to run out of the room and dry my eyes and come back in and look real cheerful. And they divided themselves into groups of sketchers, painters, and they decided on the theme, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And yesterday were drawings and sketches of people running out of the village, kerchief women and bombs falling in bodies in the street. It was horrible. And in the middle were little groups of 5 sketches, that was there today, of the faces of the people that they were teamed up with. And then tomorrow was what most children have. They were balloons and flowers and clowns and things like that. So I saw this as a way that they were doing community building and consensus building. And I thought, if children who have suffered so much trauma can do this, then why can't we? Why can't adults do this? Well, since that time, I went back to my husband in Vienna, Austria at the time, and we were building an art gallery, and we started doing murals with kids and people. We lived in a multicultural neighborhood, and the kids started coming in, and they started sending kids from the neighborhood to paint murals, and pretty soon we had about 100 of them. And I saw that we were really filling a space between that empty space where kids have nowhere to go and they don't know what time their parents are going to come, what countries they came from, how to fill those hours, and the healing that was taking place. It was quite magical. And over the years, now after 17 years, we've completed or facilitated the completion of over 4,000 of these murals. They're basically 5 by 12 feet, so you can imagine. Our goal was to create 1 mile of mural and break the Guinness Book of Records. And I really don't know how we got to 12 miles, but that's where we're on 10, going on to 12 right now. And so I want to show you a few of these murals, because we have done murals with refugee centers all over the world, with street gangs, with organizations like the American Heart Association. Everywhere you can think of, we've been partnered with them to do this. And it's all done through 100% volunteers. This first slide is a picture of kids painting in Afghanistan on the border. They're in a refugee center. And those are Afghani and Pakistani children. And if you'll notice, the boys are in the front, the girls are in the back. You heard this morning how just recently girls in Afghanistan, but it's still not true all over the place, can go to school. The second mural picture that you'll see came from Burundi just a few days ago. And this was the first time the children and the kids in the picture ever got to use color and paint. And you can look at their faces. This picture is someone closer to my age. And you can see the joy that seniors have. And this is right here in Children's Hospital of Orange County, where we worked with the kids that have cancer painting inside. And so something magic happens and keeps happening 17 years later with people who come to paint. I don't know if it's the bottles of the colors of paint and the big stretches of canvas that kids go, oh boy, I don't have a paper this size. But to us, it gives the voiceless a voice. It's a visual expression of what's going on with them. We have 12 themes, and they cover everything from women's issues to environment to fairy tales. It's absolutely magical. And you know, murals started in caves, in pyramids like in Egypt or in Latin America and other places yet to be known. But our murals are done on canvas because we want to share them around the world, and we have exhibitions going on everywhere. So it's really an incredible experience for us. And what's really fun is when we hear someone say, maybe it's a caring parent or a teacher, say to the students, be sure you color in the lines, or the sky is blue. Well, we live in Southern California, and normally we have blue and gray and pink and orange skies at sunset and sunrise. We encourage people of all ages to use what's inside of their feelings and their heart in any color they choose to paint these murals. This is a mural that was done by children in Hong Kong after they saw the film Invisible Children. This is a mural that shows, it came from Australia, and you can see how happy. I could just hear them singing beer swilling songs. And then this particular mural depicts what the kids were thinking that day of what a great experience that was for them. And there's hundreds of handprints behind that. What a wonderful world. And then this mural, we probably have close to 100 of them that look very similar, because guess what? Kids love to show pictures holding hands because they haven't learned all that bigotry and hatred toward one another. And you can't even tell what country they come from because it's just simply pictures of holding hands. So the real extraordinary treasure and meaning of mural painting comes when children, teens, grandparents working with their grandchildren, blind people, where we put the smell of the paint, the color of the paint into the paint, smelling cherries and oranges, and feeling what the sun must look like when we explain the warmth with the yellows and the oranges. Or the sky when dusk comes and you feel the coolness on your skin. It's absolutely amazing. So right now, I want to tell you that we also have technology. And our Japanese coordinators, we have incredible coordinators, came up with an incredible program called the International Intercultural Mural Exchange Program. And here you'll see children video conferencing in Indonesia and Japan. And together on the internet, they meet each other, they send each other messages, and they create one mural. They paint the opposite culture. They've done 271 of these in the last 2 years between other countries. It's absolutely amazing. And speaking of our coordinators, you saw this morning the young woman from Afghanistan. And you know, in Pakistan a few weeks ago, we heard about the shooting of Malala. Well, our coordinator in Pakistan, whose name is Fazia, has been teaching boys and girls art and trying to fight for the right to read for over 15 years now. And her sister makes underground films, and if you go on our website, you look up Afghanistan and Pakistan video, and you'll see a beautiful story about the right to read for boys and girls. Now, our big goal was to build a pyramid, because we wanted to build the fourth pyramid in Egypt. But something big happened the last few years. It's called a revolution. So we weren't able to do that. But in 2005, to show you our progress, we did manage to unveil 2.5 miles of murals in a park, because there is no museum or facility that can hold these. That's about 1,000 murals side by side with no space in between. So now, how are we going to display 4,000 murals? Actually, and hopefully in a year or two, 5,280 murals. That's in Denver. Whoops. Well, there you go. I gave you the answer right away. This is what it was supposed to look like. We were going to create that fourth pyramid, and we still plan to do that. But the whole objective of what we do, and we continue to do, is painting outside the lines, filling in the spaces, and making any color you feel. We do it with organizations, schools, anything that you feel that you want us to do, we'll help you do that with the murals. But our project is really about bringing people together, building community. And we may not have the answer to world peace, but we make little baby steps with our children and between ourselves, closing that space. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could live in a world where we could erase borders and just live on a big canvas full of color and warmth? Thank you very much.